There is a peculiar tenderness in the way we betray ourselves. It does not come with grand gestures or malicious intent. It arrives in whispers, in quiet refusals, in the silent undoing of blessings we once prayed for. Sabotage, in its truest form, is a ritual act, performed in the hidden sanctum of the unconscious. It is not clumsiness, it is ceremony. An ancient rite performed not to destroy, but to preserve a story long outgrown yet fiercely protected. The story of who we once needed to be in order to survive. Before we begin, take a moment to like and subscribe. The more you engage and stay with the content, the more YouTube shares these timeless insights with others. By doing so, you're not only helping this channel grow, but also spreading Carl Jung's transformative wisdom to those seeking meaning and inner truth. Let's dive into the depth of the psyche together. You may think that the world is against you and the good things slip away like sand through tired fingers. But look again. When love stands before you, radiant and unguarded, do you lean in, or does your body tremble with an inexplicable urge to retreat? When joy knocks, does a grief you thought long buried stir from its tomb and whisper, "This is not for us"? These are not random fluctuations of emotion. They are holy messages from the deeper well of your being. You are not just oneself, but many. A council of inner voices forged by lineage, trauma, and longing. And some of these voices have never known the sun. The unconscious is not an abyss. It is a cathedral. It houses the forgotten gods of our psyche-wounded protectors, ancestral shadows, abandoned children who made thrones of pain and called them home. Within this inner cosmos, sabotage is not madness. It is fidelity, a fierce, archaic loyalty to the very wound that shaped you, to step into joy, into love, into the sacred unknown, is to risk betraying those inner deities who once kept you alive by teaching you how to disappear. And so, when the light enters, the old myths stir in protest. They say, "We were not built for this. We remember betrayal. We trust sorrow. We know how to suffer with grace, but not how to receive without shame." The mind invents reasons. The heart pulls away. You call it fear of failure, but it is not. It is fear of becoming someone you have never met, someone who is not defined by longing. The wound, archetypally, becomes a god, and gods do not relinquish their altars easily. The wounded one whispers in dreams, maybe as a faceless child, maybe as a figure bleeding in the corner of a dim room, and its prayer is always the same. Do not heal, for healing means forgetting. And if you forget, who will remember the cost of love denied? But you are not meant to be a shrine to pain. You are meant to be the priestess who blesses it and moves on. And so the good things love, freedom, clarity, feel dangerous. They ask something terrible of you. They ask you to die, not in body, but in story. They ask you to let go of the mask that says, "I am only safe when I suffer." They ask you to risk joy. They ask you to feel whole. But the ego, that loyal old servant, guards your suffering with trembling hands. It shouts, "Better the ache we know than the light we don't trust." And you obey not because you are weak, but because you were trained to fear the warmth that might melt your armor. To allow the good things is to walk naked into a forest you once escaped from, clothed in thorns. It is to return to the origin of your myth and rewrite it. But the rewriting hurts. Dreams begin to change, no longer just symbols of pursuit and abandonment. They become landscapes of choice. You fail the test on purpose. You run away from the lover. You wake before the flight. This is the saboteur at work, protecting the narrative, preserving coherence. But life is not a novel. It is an initiation. And every time you turn away from what you desire, you're not just saying no to opportunity. You are saying yes to an inner God who has not yet heard that the war is over. Tell them. Tell the part of you that still weeps beneath layers of self-denial. I love you, but we are no longer bound by this script. Hold the saboteur's hand. See their tired eyes. They only want you safe. And here is the paradox: true safety is not in the repetition. It is in the rupture, in the brave act of allowing joy and letting the old gods rage without yielding. You are not betraying them. You are freeing them. They were never meant to rule, only to guide you to this threshold. And now, Soul Walker, if these words have stirred the ashes in your inner hearth, I invite you to mark this moment not with comment, but with a cipher, a number, drawn from the wellspring of your unconscious. What number lives in your breath now? Is it the void, the primordial womb where all stories are unmade? Is it 5, the sacred crossroads of transformation? Is it 10, the star of hope and healing in the tarot's night sky? Close your eyes, feel for it, let it arrive without reason, then place it below, not as a comment, but as a symbol, a spell, a soul stone for others to find on this dark forest path. We are not here to perform. We are here to remember, to awaken, to witness the saboteur, and say, I see you, I honor your service, and I release you now. The ritual begins with this number, and in doing so, you become the myth rewritten. Yes, you were abandoned, but you are not abandonment. Yes, you failed, but you are not failure. And when the unconscious hears this enough times, it begins to shift, slowly, with resistance. Buddha, surely, in analytical psychology, we speak of integration. To integrate is to bring the shadow into the light, not to annihilate it. And so the saboteur, too, must be honored, not obeyed, but seen. You must sit with a part of you that says, don't trust this love, and ask, what are you afraid of? You must hear the voice that says, you mess it up anyway, and respond, even if I do, I deserve to try. This is the sacred dialogue, the individuation process, not perfection, but wholeness. You may feel, at times, that this work is lonely, and it is the path of the inner pilgrim is not crowded, but you are never truly alone. The archetypes walk with you, the wise old woman, the divine child, the warrior, the mystics. They are within, waiting to be activated. Each time you choose love over sabotage, joy over fear, presence over dissociation, you awaken one of them. You are not just healing yourself, you are reanimating your inner pantheon. And so I say again, if you sabotage the good things in your life, it is not because you are unworthy. It is because somewhere inside, a part of you still believes that safety lies in the familiar wound. But what is familiar is not always what is true, and what is true will often terrify you before it liberates you. Now, come further. Let us walk deeper into this inner forest. The roots go back further than you know. Some of these roots were planted not by you, but by your ancestors. Their fears live within your nervous system. Their choices echo in your dreams. The unconscious is not personal alone. It is collective. You may sabotage good things not only because of your own history, but because generations before you were denied goodness. They learned that joy invited punishment, that happiness was fleeting, that to shine was to be noticed, and to be noticed was to be destroyed. This is the inheritance. Many carry unknowingly a spiritual scar, passed down like a family heirloom. It is not enough to know this intellectually. The intellect, while noble, cannot melt the body's fear. You must feel your way through it. You must become aware of how your breath changes when someone praises you, how your stomach tightens when you rest, how your thoughts grow louder when peace surrounds you. These are the guardians of the inner gate. They do not speak English. They speak emotion, tension, avoidance. And to understand our language is to begin the alchemy of transformation. There is an old dream I once recorded from a woman who could never stay in love. In the dream, she is walking through a museum filled with mirrors. In each mirror, she sees not her face but someone else's. A crying child, a man with no mouth, a woman in a cage. She runs from mirror to mirror, seeking her reflection, but never finds it. Finally, exhausted, she collapses. And in that moment, the mirror beneath her shows her true face. Older, scarred, yet peaceful. This is the journey. You must stop running and sit with the mirror long enough for the truth to emerge. The real reason we sabotage the good is that we are afraid of who we will become if we allow ourselves to receive it. Who are you when you are not performing for love? Who are you when you are not proving your worth? Who are you when you are not cleaning up the mess that others left in your soul? These are terrifying questions, because the ego says, if I let go of these roles, I will disappear. But the self, the eternal core of your being, whispers, you will not disappear. You will finally emerge in every mythology. The hero descends before their eyes. So must you, to transcend the sabotage. You must first understand the underworld in which it operates. This is where the shadow dwells. And the shadow is not evil. It is simply the disowned self. It contains your rage, your desire, your pride, your magic. It contains the parts of you that were exiled so you could be accepted. But what was exiled did not die. It waits, and it waits not to destroy you, but to reunite with you. And so you must turn inward, not with violence, but with reverence, not to conquer yourself, but to remember yourself, to gather the scattered pieces of your soul like holy fragments and bring them home. When you do this, you will notice something strange. The sabotage weakens, not because it is banished, but because it is no longer needed. When you welcome all parts of yourself, the inner war begins to end. It will not happen all at once. The psyche unfolds in spirals, not straight lines. You may allow joy one day and reject it the next. You may taste love and then fear it. You may stand in your power only to collapse again. This is not failure. This is the rhythm of healing. Like the moon, you will wax and wane. But each time you return to yourself with compassion, you strengthen your inner container. And that container becomes the vessel through which the self can emerge more fully. Remember, the self is not the ego. The self is the totality of you. Conscious and unconscious, light and dark, masculine and feminine, human and divine. It is the tree that grows when you stop pruning your branches for the approval of others. It is the song that sings when you let go of silence imposed by shame. It is the flame that endures in the dark, even when the wind of fear blows hard against it. To accept the good, you must build the inner capacity to receive it. This means grieving what was, forgiving what is, and daring to trust what could be. It means saying to the scared child inside, "We are safe now." It means saying to the inner saboteur, "I understand your fear, but I no longer need your protection." It means looking in the mirror and seeing not a broken being, but a becoming one. Let me tell you this. Every act of sabotage is a disguised longing. When you push love away, it is because you long for love so deeply. It frightens you. When you sabotage your success, It is because the version of you that would thrive is one you still do not believe you are allowed to become. But belief can change, and that change begins with awareness. Ask yourself, what do I gain by rejecting joy? What identity do I preserve by pushing away peace? Who told me I must suffer to be worthy? These questions open the inner gate. Walk through them, slowly, gently, ritualistically. Make space for what arises. Tears, anger, numbness. They are all valid. They are all part of the initiation. You are entering sacred ground, the temple of your own psyche. And yes, there will be resistance. The psyche is not fond of revolution. But you must become both the revolutionary and the priest, the one who overturns the tables of old beliefs, and the one who lights the incense of new rituals. You must hold your own hand as you walk away from the altar of pain and into the cathedral of possibility. Let us speak now of the archetype of the threshold guardian. In many dreams, it appears as a snarling beast, a gatekeeper, a shadowy figure who blocks the path. It is terrifying. Yes, but not because it seeks your destruction. It seeks your devotion. And if you face it, truly face it, it transforms. It becomes a guide. This is the deeper truth of the saboteur. It is the threshold guardian of your next evolution. It will not step aside until you prove that you are ready to walk a new path. And how do you prove this? Not by force, but by presence, by remaining steady in the face of your fear, by allowing goodness to come and not running, by choosing to receive, even when the old stories scream that you are undeserving. This is spiritual maturity, not the absence of fear, but the capacity to act in love despite it. You may ask, but what if I fall again? What if I sabotage again? Then fall, but fall with awareness and rise again. Each fall teaches you something new. The wound opens the way. The mistake is a teacher. And each return to self is stronger than the last. You are not here to live a perfect life. You are here to live a conscious one. So I envy you. No, I urge you to begin the sacred practice of allowing good things to stay. Let the love linger. Let the joy settle. Let the peace become familiar. This is how you rewire the inner world. This is how the unconscious learns a new truth. You are not the saboteur. You are the self. Awakening the self does not speak in words. It speaks in symbols, in images, in synchronicities that flutter through your day, like whispers from a forgotten language. It is not the voice that screams at you in your mind that is often the tyrant ego, afraid of change. No. The self is more like a bell heard faintly in the wind, or the face that appears again and again in your dreams until you dare to ask, what are you trying to show me when you sabotage good things in your life? The self does not punish. It waits. It watches. It sends new messengers. It sends dreams that disturb you, interactions that reflect you, longings that ache until you turn toward them. It knows that the soul cannot be forced into wholeness, only invited, only chosen. The journey to stop sabotaging your own joy is not about controlling yourself better. It is not about forcing discipline or willpower. It is about befriending the parts of you that still believe in danger. You see, most sabotage is not disobedience. It is protection. You are not lazy. You are cautious. You are not broken. You are guarding the wounded altar of your past. But you no longer have to worship there. To transcend this cycle, you must descend once more into the archetypal layer of your psyche, where the inner child sits, curled in a corner. You may have met this child already, in dreams or during those strange moments when you suddenly feel far younger than your years. This child remembers things your adult self has forgotten. Moments when you reached for connection and found coldness. Times you expressed joy only to be mocked or shamed. These moments planted seeds in your body, and the harvest has been sabotaged. The inner child does not need fixing. It needs presence. You must go to this child, not as a rescuer, but as a witness. Sit beside it. Do not ask it to speak. Simply let it feel you, your warmth, your breath, your permission to exist in time, and the child may show you the contract it wrote long ago. I will not expect good things because then I cannot be disappointed. Or, if I pretend I don't care, I won't get hurt. These are not flaws. They are survival spells, but they must now be undone. And that undoing takes ritual. You see, psyche understands ritual far more than logic. So, begin your own. Light a candle each morning not to chase away darkness, but to greet it. Write a letter to the part of you that always ruins a good thing. Ask it, what are you afraid of losing if I receive this gift? And listen, not with your ears, but with your whole being, with your skin, with your tears, with your breath. Perhaps it says, if you love, again. You might be abandoned again. Or, if you succeed, they will hate you. Or, if you are truly well, no one will care for you. These are not childish fears. They are sacred keys. They point to the prison you still live in, but the door has always been unlocked. You must also examine your projections. Who do you envy? Who do you judge? Who do you call too much? These are often aspects of yourself that you have banished, the confident woman you roll your eyes at, the joyful man whose laughter irritates you, the one who seems at peace while you are still at war. These are not your enemies. They are mirrors. Each time you criticize what is good in another, you confirm your inner belief that it is not safe for you to possess the same. Projection is the psyche's way of keeping dangerous beauty at arm's length. It is safer to resent the joyful than to risk becoming them. But what if you stop projecting and start as reclaiming? What if you let their freedom ignite your own? What if the good you sabotage is simply the good you've been too afraid to integrate? Let us speak now of the dream I heard from a young man gripped by fear of his own success. In the dream, he stood at the edge of a golden field. Across the field stood a version of himself taller, radiant, at peace. He longed to walk toward that figure, but wolves circled him. They snarled with the voices of his parents, his teachers. His culture, stay small. A stick yet, stay safe. He turned away from the golden figure and wept. This is not an uncommon dream. The golden field is the realm of the self. The wolves are the inner critics born of external voices. The radiant figure is the future self, an archetype of integration. He did not need to defeat the wolves. He needed to recognize that their power was inherited, not innate. And so, you do not need to silence your inner saboteur. You need to stop believing. It holds truth. You need to remember that the voices of fear, shame, and self-doubt are echoes, not prophecies. You are not obligated to obey every thought that crosses your mind. Your mind is a library, not a command center. You may choose which voices to amplify, but choice alone is not enough. You must practice, and practice means repetition. When the good thing arrives, do not just analyze your reaction. Hold it, stay with it. Watch the urge to run, to criticize, to minimize, and instead breathe. Let the sensation pass through you like weather. It will not destroy you. It is simply the old self protesting its own irrelevance. In time, your body will catch up with your soul. The flinch will soften. The panic will lessen. And what once felt foreign love, peace, joy, will begin to feel like home. But do not expect applause. This is inner work. It is invisible to the world. No one may notice when you stop sabotaging, but you will. You will notice the space inside you where fear used to scream and now there is stillness. You will notice the tenderness that grows where armor used to be. You will notice that good things begin to stay not because they changed, but because you did. I remind you again, sabotage is not sin. It is strategy. But the war is over. You are no longer that child, no longer that frightened soul hiding in the basement of your own life. The door is open. The staircase is lit. The voice calling you upward is your own rise. The act of rising, of choosing to stay present when the good thing arrives, is perhaps the most sacred rebellion of all. You are not rising into perfection. You are rising into wholeness, and that wholeness includes the saboteur, the critic, the child, the ghost of what you could have been. But now those figures no longer stand in your way. They walk beside you, integrated, seen, no longer enemies but elders of your inner world. The deeper truth is this: self-sabotage dissolves not through shame, but through relationship. You must befriend the very part of you that sabotages your joy. You must ask it questions. Let it answer in image, dream, feeling. You may hear it say, "If I let you be happy, what will happen to all we endured?" Won't it have meant nothing, to which you must gently reply, "It will not be erased. It will be transfigured." Transfiguration. That is the mystery we are approaching. Not escape, not rejection, but alchemical evolution. The pain you once carried now becomes compassion. The fear you once obeyed becomes discernment. The longing you once buried becomes sacred magnetism. You begin to draw in what reflects your inner change, not because you manipulate reality, but because you meet it differently. Understand this. The psyche is magnetic. It responds not just to thought, but to belief, and beneath belief, to identity. If your identity remains unworthy, then even the good will be reinterpreted as threat. You will attract love and question its motives. You will stumble upon peace and call it boring. You will taste joy and spit it out, saying, "This is too sweet. I do not trust this flavor." But if your identity shifts even subtly, then the nervous system begins to recalibrate, and slowly you learn to stay, to receive, to let it be good. But there is grief in this too, a strange, quiet grief that often surprises those who walk this path. You grieve not only the past, but the version of you that no longer fits. You grieve the narratives that once protected you. You grieve the intimacy you once had with your own suffering. And, perhaps most painfully, you grieve the years lost to sabotage the relationships, the chances, the days spent hiding. And yet, this grief is holy. It means you are alive. You are no longer numb. The thawing hurts, but it heralds spring. And in that spring, you begin to dream new dreams. You see yourself holding what you once pushed away. You walk through inner landscapes once barred to you. You touch the child, the lover, the mystic within, and find them waiting with open arms. And now, the self emerges fully, not as a perfect being, but as a witnessing presence. You become your own sanctuary. You no longer chase healing. You become it. And the saboteur, having been met and honored, sits quietly by the hearth of your soul, no longer loud, no longer in charge, but present, transformed. There is a dream I hold for every soul I meet on this path, a dream where the individual sits quietly at dusk, no mask on their face, no urgency in their heart, simply resting. In that stillness, they are not proving anything, not reaching, not fixing, just being. And in that being, the good things come not because they are chased, but because there is finally space for them to arrive. And they stay. They stay because you have become someone who can let them. They stay because the vibration of your inner world has shifted from rejection to welcome, from doubt to devotion, from sabotage to surrender. This is not theory. This is the alchemy of living. If you hear nothing else from me, let this remain. You do not sabotage because you are flawed. You sabotage because you are sacred. And somewhere long ago, you were convinced that your sacredness was dangerous. But it is not. It is your path home. And now, the time has come to reclaim it. The threshold is here. The doorway stands open. The voice that once told you to turn back is quieter now, replaced by a hum, a subtle ancient music coming from within. Walk forward into the golden field of your own becoming, into the presence of a life no longer ruined by fear, into the deep mystical possibility of receiving the very thing you once believed you could never hold. And when you do, you will see that the saboteur was never your enemy. It was your unhealed devotion, waiting to be named, waiting to be transformed, waiting to become love. Welcome it, and let the good things stay.